손흥민의 2025 MLS 올해의 골 수상은 큰 의미를 담고 있습니다. 한국 시간 10월 28일 새벽 손흥민이 MLS 데뷔 단 3개월 만에 올해의 골 수상자로 선정되었습니다. 이 상은 100% 팬투표로 결정되었는데 그 과정이 그야말로 압도적이었습니다. 손흥민은 무려 43.5%의 득표율로 22.5%를 받은 리오넬 메시를 2배 가까운 표 차이로 따돌렸습니다. 메시 팬덤이 전 세계적으로 압도적이라는 것을 감안할 때 이 투표 결과는 골 자체의 퀄리티가 팬덤의 힘을 뛰어넘었다는 것을 증명합니다. 이 발표 직후에 SNS에서는 두 선수의 팬덤이 충돌하기도 했으며 일부 스페인어 매체들은 메시가 손흥민에게 상을 뺏겼다는 노골적인 헤드라인을 보내기도 했습니다. 이번 수상으로 손흥민은 MLS 역사상 최초의 아시아 선수 수상, LAFC 구단 최초의 수상이라는 기록과 함께 EPL 올해의 골과 MLS 올해의 골을 모두 석권한 세계 최초의 선수라는 전무후무한 대기록을 세웠습니다. 미국 축구 LAFC 전문가들도 손흥민의 올해의 골에 대해서 면밀하게 분석했는데요. 함께 보시죠.
Let's get into all of it. Speaking of Sonny, we start with the most pressing news today. And Son Heung-min has won the MLS Goal of the Year award. It was his first goal of his arrival against Dallas. That was back on August the 23rd, the free kick. And I got people talking. Some people maybe say, hey, I would say it's not the greatest goal of the year that we've seen in MLS. I think the Sonny love gets a bit of a rub here. But Lionel Messi, who didn't score many free kicks this year, didn't get it, but he could have given a Messi goal because it was Messi. So that's interesting. I don't think it was a great year of goals overall in MLS. The best goal I think we saw was Pedro de la Vega, but that was Leagues Cup. But it's great. I think this is great. Son Heung-min's not going to win Newcomer of the Year because he's only been here for, 9 games. That's going to be Andres Dreyer. But he wins something, and I think it's a nice placeholder for what will come again in 2026.
Yeah, we do this thing where we try to pick best 11s and we try to play, pick all these awards and we talk, goal of the year, I think is subjective to a lot of people. The reality is it's a phenomenal goal. I mean, however you dice it. And the fact that it's his first MLS goal down in Dallas after starting in Chicago and then going to New England and then finally getting back in front of the fans at BMO Stadium against San Diego. This was one of those moments in time where it'll be etched into his memory. And for him, listen, he scored a lot of incredible goals and he's had some incredible masterpieces in terms of goals that he's been a part of in the buildup of play, the pass before the pass, or the pass that led to a goal. And he's been on the end of some amazing finishes for both club and country. But I think the one thing that caught us maybe a little bit off guard when we're talking about domestic football, and I say this with all due respect from his time at Tottenham Hotspur, that with set pieces, this was a real standout goal because I think what it did, Max, is it reminded people of within the collective how important of a player he is and how technically elite of a footballer he is. But I think in that moment, it kind of almost jogged everybody's memory to the forefront and said, like, damn, he is one of the most all-around technical footballers that we've seen in the modern game. And in the last 15 to 20 years, when you think about the production value that he's had, whether on the left-hand side or the right-hand side or off the shoulder, tucked in underneath, his combination play, left foot, right foot, all of those things in the run of play, it was almost like we needed that set-piece opportunity in that free kick in Dallas where it's a 2-step lead, right foot, curling ball, up and over. It's got a bit of a knuckle. It's got the power and the placement and the accuracy. I always joke around that when it's that far up in the corner and my goal calls that, he's picked out the spider webs, he's killed the spiders, it's such a perfectly placed ball. And then just the image, like when you slow it down, you watch the replay as the goalkeeper is at full stretch and still can't get a finger to it. It's just one of those goals where, again, I know it's a very subjective nature of how we separate these goals. And we want to see bicycle kicks and we want to see ball, 50-yard dimes. And we want to see all of these, chop in, chop out and finishes. A free kick is special, man. And from that distance up and over the wall with that accuracy, it was a phenomenal goal.
Wow, the way you described it, it sounds like a slam dunk for goal of the year. Spider webs, goalkeeper,
stretch keeper. Yeah.
I was like, wow.
There's always one of those when you see that as a defender, when I gave up a stupid foul and all of a sudden it hits the back of the net, you're like, damn, idiot. So great finish for Sonny.
Well, I like what you said about it too, because it takes you back. It started it all, this phenomenon. We didn't know what this Son Heung-min immersion was going to look like, and that was like the beginning. And LAFC doesn't score a lot of set piece goals, so this was good to see. And they're not bad at it, but the set piece goals since Carlos Vela's departure haven't really been all that frequent. So that's good.
진행자와 패널 둘 다 손흥민의 올해의 골에 의심의 여지가 없어 보이죠. 그리고 그 골을 시작으로 손흥민은 LAFC를 리그 3위까지 끌어올렸습니다. 네. 이미 플레이오프는 시작이 되었는데 지금까지 상황을 보면요. 동부 컨퍼런스에서는 인터 마이애미가 내슈빌 SC를 상대로 1차전 홈에서 메시의 멀티골에 힘입어서 3대1로 승리했습니다. 서부 컨퍼런스에서는 밴쿠버 화이트캡스가 FC 댈러스를 상대로 1차전 홈에서 토마스 뮬러의 골 등을 묶어서 3대0 완승을 거뒀습니다. 또 다른 서부 컨퍼런스 1라운드에서는 정규 시즌 1위 샌디에고 FC가 포틀랜드 팀버스를 상대로 홈에서 1대0 신승을 거두면서 기선 제압에 성공했습니다. 이 세 팀의 결과는 모두 LAFC에 중요한 영향을 미칩니다. LAFC가 오스틴을 꺾게 되면 컨퍼런스 준결승에서 밴쿠버 화이트캡스 대 FC 댈러스 승자와 만나게 되기 때문입니다. 현재로서는 밴쿠버가 유력합니다. 그리고 밴쿠버마저 꺾게 된다면 컨퍼런스 결승에서는 또 정규 시즌 1위인 샌디에고 FC를 만날 확률이 매우 높습니다. 현재까지 플레이오프에서는 큰 이변이 일어나고 있지는 않은데 그래도 방심은 금물입니다. MLS 플레이오프는 3판 2선승제로 진행되기에 홈에서 대승을 거둬도 원정에서 패배하거나 승부차기 끝에 지게 되면 최대 3차전까지 치러야 하는 변수가 존재하기 때문입니다. 그럼 첫 상대인 오스틴 FC가 어떤 팀인지 그리고 승리의 방책은 무엇인지 LAFC 전문가들의 말을 들어보겠습니다.
Let's preview this game Wednesday, round 1. Game 1, BMO Stadium, LAFC, Austin FC. Let us preview Austin. I'll give you the little background here. Austin won both games this season, way back in March. That was, to me, a real low point for LAFC. It was an afternoon game. There was a bit of a malaise early in the season, and LAFC just couldn't get it going. A lot has changed since then. And then October the 12th, the penultimate game of the season, Owen Wolf off a corner kick in the 83rd minute, 1-0. LAFC rested a bunch of guys. Or they didn't rest, but that was the international break. Sonny and Denny. It is, we'll talk about what Austin FC does well, but just you've seen them a lot. We've called a lot of their games. How do you view this challenge for LAFC, and how do you think Austin's going to approach it?
Yeah, and I say this with the utmost respect. Austin was one of the least impressive teams that made the playoffs. Every team has a bogey team in Major League Soccer. There's that one weird team that you come up against, whether at home or on the road, and you just can't figure them out, or they've maybe figured you out. The one thing I would say is that even though Austin FC beat LAFC both home and away this season, back in September, it's a different shape, it's a different team, it's a different group of players. And this last loss a couple of weeks ago was during the international window. But what happened with Austin FC is when they lost at home to Nashville SC and BJ Callahan, I think they started wobbling, and then they started picking up some injuries. So they beat LAFC during an international window. They get a timely goal. Abobasi missed it was really a horrific miss for Abobasi that would have completely changed the transition and probably put the game to bed. They would have been leading 1-0. They would have killed their confidence. But then they went into San Jose, and they got absolutely throttled in San Jose. When you talk about where was the goals that I had against San Jose, 65% possession for San Jose, 21 shots, 12 of which were on goal, and operating at a 65% possession. It was really one-way traffic to the point where you saw wholesale changes. And for Nico taking off Owen Wolf, taking off defenders and Djordjevic and Heinz Eich, Danny Pereira, he was trying to get a spark, trying to get a tune out of them, and they just didn't show up. So psychologically, LAFC is going to have the advantage heading into the match. I would imagine Nico tries all the bulletin board material of, hey, we've already beat them twice, we can do it again. But I think the challenge is going to be the obvious, and that is how efficient can you be with your chances? And in a similar conversation to what we just had last week, about the 2-2 draw at Colorado, LAFC is going to have to make sure that they minimize mistakes to these minuscule moments, because Austin obviously can hurt you. And they've made a season out of punishing teams when they've had least possession, least XG, least passes completed, least shots on goals, because they've stayed compact, and they've hit in transition moments. They've played for set pieces. They're big across the back line, and they played for corners. And so they figured out ways to beat teams, even when I would argue they weren't the best team on the field. And by the way, that's not a negative. That's a compliment to Nico and to Austin FC. So offensively, LAFC is going to carry the load of possession. They're going to have to manufacture moments. They're going to instinctually have to figure out in the game model how to move Austin FC defenders around. And I think with Denny and Sonny playing in such free roles, that this is going to be stories that we're going to be coming back to next week. It's going to be these late arriving runs. It's going to be Sonny in possession, taking on 2 or 3 players.
네, 뭐 충분히 LAFC가 승리할 수 있어 보이죠. 네, 손흥민의 대활약과 함께 LAFC가 승리할 수 있기를 응원하겠습니다. 이상 흰수염고래였습니다. 감사합니다. 상상도 못할 일이 일어나 난 아직 바뀌어도